So today I want to talk about an article that relates to the dangers of hiring cultural fit. It's from the Wall Street Journal, and it really goes in depth to talk about cultural fit and just how it relates to the organization as a whole. So employers often aim to hire people that they think will be a good fit. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you want to hire people that are like you, that you feel are like-minded to you, because you see yourself and that's the path that you took. So, I mean, you see it in everyday life when you have cliques of sports teams or just any club or organization. People tend to have a friend group that's like the same, like has the same interest, and that just makes sense that people would want to hire people within the same like interest area and just personalities as them. And the problem with this is that it leads to little diversity. You can't have all your employees that look alike, think alike. You have to have some branching out to get new ideas rolling. Diversity can lead to these new ideas, and it often comes because they grew up in a different background. If you look at race or ethnicity, gender, people have a different point of view that grew up in a different way. And that can also come from economic background too, and just seeing the different way that people live. So companies can then create new markets within like their marketing strategies. So it's beneficial to both parties that they have diversity in the company, and then the company overall it's really just beneficial to the company as a whole. And then the next thing I want to talk about in the article is the looking glass mirror effect. Basically, I'll use an example. So basically what that is say I'm a college, I graduated from a college that's pretty small, not very well known. I'm more apt to hire someone that took that same path as me, went to a smaller college that's less well known. I have kind of a soft spot for them because I was in their shoes once. I walked that path. I know I have a little bit of faith in them. I'm like, I did that. I see that person can do the same thing. And the last thing I want to talk about from the article is just, it's very hard to judge the attitudes of a people from an interview. Interviews are typically an hour maybe. You might have a day interview. You probably have a phone interview before that interview, but it's just not enough time, and you don't have enough exposure to really understand their attitude. And then my reflections from the article were, it's very difficult to just gauge, like I just said, it's very difficult to gauge employees from that one or two interactions of an interview. And in those interviews, what they've been finding is that younger generations are asked what they would change in a company. And there was a study done, and I believe 35% of like interviewees said that they would help make the company like more eco-friendly, and they want the company to become more eco-friendly. But only 11% of those 35% were like followed through by the company. So it's kind of like shows how there's like disparity on both ends. Like you don't know the company as well, and you also don't know the potential employees. So overall, why is this significant to management? Company culture is just a huge aspect of productivity and company goals. Culture is just the way you live. You talk about at a university as our own, at High Point, it just kind of like lifts the way you live. Like you see a piece of trash, you pick it up just because it's such a clean environment. It's just the culture. You hold the door for someone else. It's just a polite thing to do. It just kind of comes with being at High Point, and like that's kind of what a culture is. That's a good example, is just how it lifts other people. So another thing that is very significant to management is current managers, what they're looking at when they're hiring employees. And that's important to us as students because we're going to be going out in that workforce very soon. We need to know what they want, what they don't want, what they're looking for. So that's another big takeaway, and that's another big part of management is the hiring process and prospecting new employees. Another thing Another point would be cohesiveness within a company. Now, cohesiveness relates a lot to productivity. If you have people that can work together well, it goes a long way. You don't want to have people that just are agreeing. You want to have a little bit of friction there, because friction creates new ideas and it will challenge other people to have better ideas. And then another thing that's significant to management would be how we create diversity without hiring a single type of person. Staying away from hiring just that person that's like you or someone that you see as yourself. We got to start getting away from that as managers. And the last point I would make is how innovation and diversity are linked. You get people from different backgrounds, just different cultures. They're going to know more, be able to market more to different areas. And then how this relates to our class is we talk a lot about diversity in class and how that affects management and a business. And diversity is just a big part of management. You have to have diversity in a company to create those new ideas and to just have the best company you can have. And then the last thing I want to talk about that we talk about in class a lot is values and culture. These go a long way. You have a good value system, it creates a culture. You end up setting goals, you end up hiring people that want to achieve those goals because they have higher standards. You want to bring the standard of everyone up. So having those values and company culture, that's everything. So just overall, we can look at diversity, values, culture, the hiring process, that kind of all relates to this. So just to wrap it up, diversity, probably the biggest key in the hiring process to stay away from that one type of person. That's pretty much all I have for you. I mean, stay away from hiring that one type of person and your company is going to benefit in a great way. Have a great day.